All right, so Ubisoft wants to ruin the gaming industry. All right, let's give it a go. Let's give it a watch. Okay, see what's going on with this.
Star Wars Outlaws marks the fifth game that Ubisoft launched in 2024. But if you look at their stock prices, it's at the lowest point in Ubisoft's history. And none of their games were
I
able to bring
mean, yeah, all the games are flopping. They just can't catch a break these days. I don't know.
them back on
It's
track.
crazy.
Rainbow Six Extraction, Assassin's Creed Nexus, Avatar.
Honestly, as I'm thinking here, I was like thinking like I feel like it's like how their games feel and how they play. I feel like they're like using an outdated engine. Now they're using Unity, right? So like if they switched over to Unreal 5, I think they'd probably have more success when it comes to like gameplay mechanics and stuff like that. Cuz I mean Rainbow Six is a beautiful game. It's great. They're just kind of flopping on it. I mean, it's an old game. Pandora, I haven't played that, but my buddy did, and I heard it was pretty fun to play, but like the games don't feel like they have any like, weight to them.
Frontiers of Pandora, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, Skull and Bones, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and more recently,
They feel like hollow shells. You know what I mean? Just like IP cash grabs. That's what they feel
Star
like.
Wars Outlaws. All of these games failed in one way or another. They couldn't get Ubisoft out of the mess like they hoped. Instead, they made it even worse, which is to be expected. Games are, after all, the primary thing they sell, and if you fail to make a single good game out of the 5 you launch in a year, it is
Yeah.
going to affect the business.
Yes,
That's
it is.
also kind of the reason why they don't want you to buy their games anymore. Mirage was supposed to save
They want you to
Ubisoft.
lease them.
It promised to take Assassin's Creed back to its roots.
And they're also stealing information with their launcher and selling it to Meta.
Follow the footsteps of the games that people actually liked, and more importantly, the games that made Ubisoft one of the most well-known game companies in the world. But ultimately, even though
Like, look
Mirage
at that gameplay was like low key, like just mid, man.
companies in the
Look at that
world,
fight.
but ultimately, even
Like nobody wants to play that in 2024.
though Mirage did a lot of things right, it felt more like a desperate move to save a dying franchise than a revival effort driven by passion. You know what's funny about Assassin's Creed and Far Cry? On one hand, Ubisoft failed Far Cry because they saw
at
how
Far
well
Cry.
the formula worked with Far Cry 3,
Nobody wants
and
to
so
play
they kept
that.
making the same game over and over and over. And on the other hand, they failed Assassin's Creed because they deviated a
Plus, Far Cry got real boring. It's like literally the same game over and over again. I played one Far Cry and I tried to play another one, and I was like, it was the same game. I was like, I literally couldn't get through it again.
little too far from its focus. Origins was new and opinions were mixed when it came out, but Odyssey made people realize that the Assassin's Creed franchise they once knew and loved was gone. But Ubisoft didn't
Yeah.
stop there. They were aware of the negative feedback that Origins and Odyssey received, but failed to improve on them with Valhalla. Again, Valhalla saw really
Crazy.
good sales mainly because of the COVID lockdown, but at its core, the game
Yeah.
is just another reskin. At this point, the stock prices had
Pretty much.
already started to go down. After this, though, came a series of game launches that were not only half-baked upon release, but
Ooh, Skull and Bones. Like, Sea of Thieves is 10x better than that game. I don't even know what they even thought they were doing. Like, if they were going to make a fucking ship battle game, they should have came correct. They should have seen Sea of Thieves and how they did theirs and done it something like that, but just more realism, I guess, you know? Like, people want a pirate game that has hookers, prostitutes, fucking drug smuggling. They want a real pirate game. Sea of Thieves is too kiddie. It's still fun, don't get me wrong, but people do want an adult pirate game for sure. And they could do it. They just, I don't know why they just don't.
also managed to be some of the worst games of the decade. Take Skull and Bones, for example, a game
Horrible.
about pirates and naval warfare. And somehow, all of its aspects are worse than a game that came out over 10 years ago. Hell,
Yeah.
even Odyssey has better naval battles than this piece. Then there's Star Wars Outlaws, their latest game.
See, no weight, no umph to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't feel good to play, right? Looks like shit. Like, what? I don't know what they were thinking about releasing this.
You know, at least EA did a couple things right and made games like Jedi Fallen Order or Battlefront 2, both games that I have enjoyed playing. But Ubisoft just had
EA can make a really good game. They're just gonna microtransaction the fuck out of it.
to get their hands dirty on Star Wars and slap their classic formula of enemy camps and massive empty open worlds on it. And at this point, everyone's tired of it. Nobody wants another open world game that undercuts other aspects like a good narrative, pacing, combat, traversal,
Yeah.
and is riddled with microtransactions.
I don't think open world games are a necessity. Like, I mean, unless you do it right, but like, They think the open, like, they're behind the ball when it comes to, like, I remember when open world was like the new meta for video game developers, and though everybody was doing open world, and they're still stuck on this. It's like the battle royale meta. Everybody started releasing battle royales. It's like the same kind of thing, but like they haven't figured it out. They're like, one open world game is cool, but like you don't need every game to be open world.
And hence, regardless of their premium price tag, the perceived value of each individual game released by Ubisoft now has gone down, and
Skull and Bones could have been so good.
the company itself acknowledges that. They might not say it, but this is precisely why they want to bundle their games into a subscription plan.
Yeah,
Bear with me. I know their focus is more on the influx in revenue that comes with a
they want to be the Netflix of gaming. That's what they want to be.
subscription model, but it's obvious that they will benefit from it in a lot of other ways. And recently, Ubisoft's director of subscription even said one of the
Oh,
things we
God.
saw is that
They
gamers
have a
are
director
used
for
to
that.
a little bit like DVDs, having and owning their games. And that's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collections or DVD collections. And that's a transformation
I still want to own the purchase of the game though, and be able to play it 10 years from now if I want to play it. Like, I don't get why I can't do that. You know what I mean?
that's been a bit slower to happen in games. So it's about feeling comfortable not owning your games anymore. Okay, considering the current state of the streaming industry, it's really not a good idea to follow that path for games. Of
No.
course, if you're a company making 5 shit games,
Like, nobody wants to pay another subscription. They're already paying subscription for all the TV that they don't watch. And then now you want them to pay a subscription for all the video games that they won't play. Like, it makes no sense. People just want, maybe some people just want that one game that you make. They don't want to pay for a subscription for all the games you make. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make the money back off of all their games. So they want like a flat rate fee. Everybody has to play, and you can play whatever games you want. It's like Xbox Game Pass. Like, the Xbox Game Pass is cool if you like trying to play a game and just try it out real quick and get the Game Pass real quick and try it out. But like, if you really, I'll buy the game if I really want to play it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna sit there and just fucking lease a fucking game for a little bit and for them to just take it off of Game Pass. Like, I don't know. I just don't think it's a smart move.
games every year, then yes, subscription is the way to go. And what he said is partially true. We are now very comfortable not owning a
I feel like if I like I have a kid, but like she's not old enough obviously to play video. I don't know if she'll be into video games. She might, but like like fucking, if she wanted to play, like, a Game Pass would be kind of a good idea for that. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to constantly keep buying video games. You know how kids are. They get a game and they're like, I don't like it, and they don't play it. Like, you don't want to be wasting money. So the Game Pass is a good idea for the youth, for sure. If like you're gonna do that for your kids, then they have a bunch of games they can just play. And if they really need that game and they take it off the Game Pass, you can just buy it for them, and they really want it. You know what I mean? But they can play whatever game they want on Game Pass. Like that's a good option. You know what I'm saying? But Ubisoft, I don't think they really have too many games that are worth a subscription, to be honest.
physical version of movies because of digitized media and streaming. But that
Yeah.
has also led to a very serious issue in the industry.
Oversaturation of media. That's what streaming has done to the fucking movie and TV show industry. Oversaturation. Like, oh, Netflix has Rick and Morty? I didn't even know that. Shit. Okay. I have Hulu just before Rick and Morty, but I didn't know they had it on Netflix. That's lit.
Which he entirely overlooked. Monthly prices have gone up, and they keep going up, and the overall quality and the experience of streaming has gone down. Although, time and time again, it has been proved that pirating a piece of media has been way easier than paying for it. And that's not
Yeah.
just because you don't have to pay for it, but because of the measures companies take to ensure that no one is able to pirate their media, also known
Yeah.
as DRMs. But what
DRMs.
actually ends
And there is actually, I forgot the name of the website, but there's a website where you can get DRM free video games. You can just buy them out and just download the file to your computer. I forgot what fucking, I have to look it up.
up
but
happening
yeah.
is that their media still gets stolen, but the overall experience for the actual paying customers gets worse. Ubisoft would no doubt benefit a lot from a subscription model for their games. For example, this will ensure a constant stream of revenue, which means
Oh, yeah, no, what? With that Pandora?
a constant stream
Yeah, that doesn't look good.
of revenue.
That doesn't look good. From right here. That's in-game. Unless he has his graphics turned all the way down.
Which means the sales of a new release won't be as
That's
big
horrible.
of a deal as it is right now, because then you can just rely on people paying for games that came out over 5 or 6 years ago. And also, the
Yeah.
backlash that comes with
Pretty
launching
much.
an unfinished game at a $70 price tag will also be gone, because they wouldn't even have to worry about a full launch. There's obviously a lot of money to be made using a subscription model compared to just
Yeah,
selling
there
your
is.
games. And not only that, it also provides
You don't have to worry about game sales. You can just release a game and people who are paying for the subscription are basically paying for it. Like what? It said $17 a month. That's like in 3 months you've paid for a video game, and if you keep it going, you paid for another video game. You pay for another game. Even if you're only playing one video game, you keep paying for these video games.
the company with a lot more control over the games. But like everything,
I'm sure they're gonna hike that price up to 25 bucks to watch on some dumb shit.
there's a problem. People still buy their games all over the world. See, as a company, they're obviously going to try and maximize their revenue. And what the CEO said in the recent meeting,
I feel like if that fucking Avatar game was made on Unreal Engine 5, it would have. I'm not even sure what engine. I think it's probably Unity. That's what Ubisoft uses, but yeah.
about Ubisoft being an entertainment first company,
We are an entertainment first company.
is only viable if you keep the profits out of it. We have seen
Yeah.
what happens when a company starts selling software as a service. The
Yeah.
cons always outweigh the pros. Customers get lower quality products and promises that it will improve eventually with future updates, which they never get. And the
Gotta
market
keep paying
sees
for it. I understand if you're gonna pay for a subscription of Adobe, you should get the full suite and all future updates on that subscription, regardless. That's just how I feel about it. No matter what, you shouldn't have to rebuy it again every year. It's fucking stupid, and you shouldn't be locked in like permanently to it. You know what I mean? Maybe you want to try it out for a couple months and you don't like it and you want to move on. Cool. But yeah, Adobe is its own thing. I could talk about that.
an influx
like,
in
for an
competition,
hour.
which is when every other company in that field also switches to a subscription and make their content only available on their platform. And in this way, companies lose their goodwill because the customer base as a whole is not satisfied with the individual subscription. This, again, leads to the same issue we are having with individual products. Imagine this. Skull and Bones is a free
Yeah.
game. Since
Okay.
it's not worth buying that game individually, the company sees a better incentive in providing that game and other shit games along with their limited
Yeah.
number of good games in a $15 per month plan.
Yeah.
Inevitably, other companies start doing that too. And because no one's playing all the games that come with their Ubisoft Plus subscription,
Yeah.
suddenly paying $15 a month for 2 games you like to play every now and then doesn't seem worth it.
No.
And now
not
that the
worth
market
it.
is divided into these small subscriptions from different companies, the value of these individual plans
Steam.
starts going down as well. I can assure you right now that you're not going to see a single full release from a company that only rents out their games and doesn't let anyone own them.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true.